Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and I just finished a story playthrough of Hogwarts Legacy. Now, I have to freely admit, I was initially going to check out this game for a myriad of reasons, mainly because the marketing campaign, the trailers, the promotional material, the descriptions, wasn't exactly selling me on the type of game this was. It wasn't exactly the type of game that I normally check out. And more so because I'm not invested in Harry Potter anymore. I used to love it as a kid, get really invested into it, but as I got older, I just grew disinterested in it. It felt more childish to me. But that is no longer the case with Harry Potter now after Hogwarts Legacy, as I've gone back and watched all the original movies, and I'm already on the third book, re-listening to it, trying to get all the way through. I'm invested in Harry Potter again. That's something I haven't been able to say for many, many years now, and that's all because once I saw some close personal friends and other streamers on this platform playing that game that opening day, showing me what it was actually like, free of the veneer of the marketing campaign, that I realized this is exactly the type of game that I normally get interested in. There are definitely some problems with Hogwarts Legacy that I'll get into in a minute here, but this will be a spoiler-free review, as a lot of people haven't burned through it as quickly as I did, because I really burned through it. That's kind of a testament to how much I really enjoyed this game, so I definitely recommend it at this point. But let's jump into more of the actual aspects of the game. Starting off, the graphics are really good, and they're easy to run. My PC is several years old, but it ran everything on ultra graphics, no problem, and it was absolutely beautiful, immersive. It felt real in a lot of instances. It was really beautiful scenery, beautiful buildings, but there are some character-related stuff that got me a little bit demersed from the story and the world building, because the facial animations of the characters were really flat. I didn't feel like any of the NPCs had any life to them. The main character and a couple of the other main characters, supporting characters like Fig or Sebastian, they were fine enough facial animation wise, but pretty much the normal average NPC didn't feel real or realized, and there wasn't a whole lot of them wandering around. I just have a little bit of a problem when the NPCs don't feel like realized human beings, and that's probably one of the biggest problems with that, and that's kind of a combination between the writing of the NPCs and the graphics of the NPCs development. So that's one of my biggest problems with this game, is the NPC aspect of it. But moving on to the gameplay, a lot of really natural control mechanisms that they had, a lot of cool quest lines that you could do that really push the limits of what a game is capable of in a gameplay setup. And of course, you can't talk about gameplay without talking about the combat. The combat is the thing I loved most about this game. From the trailers, I was a little worried that it would be a bit of a button masher. It would just randomly pick spells for you, and you just kind of button mash your way through any encounter. That is absolutely not the case with Hogwarts Legacy, as you really have to come up with some really intricate and interesting combos and combine your styles in some really interesting ways, combining spells, going back and forth. You have about 16 spells that you can actively use in combat. Then you add in Protego and Stupefy from reactionary wise. You got 18 spells, and you really have to use them all. It's a really interesting way how they forced you to come up with new and innovative ways to use spells that I was always engaged, I was always interested, and never got boring, even into the very end of the game. The combat is definitely the best part of Hogwarts Legacy, at least for me. And closely with that, the flying. I love the flying in this game. A lot of times flying or riding mechanics in games can be a little bit rough, more just, oh my god, I gotta get from A to B, whatever, just get there. But the flying mechanics, I love just flying around Hogwarts on a broom. It was really intuitive flying motor skills. I know a lot of people have complained about the broom mechanics. I don't necessarily agree with that. It felt very smooth to me, especially once you started upgrading the broom. It was beautiful, and I love doing the races, just randomly stopping to race some people with the brooms, because it was really beautifully done. So everything gameplay related was spot on, loved it. But this is when we come to some of my other criticisms. The story was rather basic, I'd say. For a story-driven game, a AAA game that already has rough facial animation, the story really needed to elevate it for me, because story is what I go into games with. That is what I'm going to rate this entire review off of the most. Story is the thing that I weigh the highest in any sort of entertainment endeavor that I engage with, and the story was really okay. It wasn't anything super exciting. There was a mystery involved with some goblins and a goblin rebellion, and it never really stuck out as interesting. None of the characters felt very realized or very well written. The main storyline, besides the finale, because the finale was pretty badass, I've got to freely admit that's a badass, part of the finale was great, but that wasn't from the writing of it. It was more from the spectacle of it. The writing was generally subpar, within a notable exception of a specific storyline side quest from Sebastian Swallow. Everything to do with Sebastian Swallow, I won't spoil that storyline, but everything to do with him was very well written, very well realized, and character motivations made sense, and you had to predict what people were going to do in certain instances. It was a very well written set of side stories, but that's something that not everyone will engage with, which sucks, because the best writing of Hogwarts Legacy is near a throwaway side quest. There are some aspects of Sebastian's story that do integrate into the main required story, but I only played as a Ravenclaw, so I don't even know if his storylines are available in other houses. It really is disappointing that the best writing may be near entirely missable overall. But that's where it comes to the story. It's really disappointing to find out that the best writing of Hogwarts Legacy comes in a nearly entirely missable storyline with a specific character and the interpersonal relationships with his family. It sucks that it's that missable. Before I move on from the writing, there's one thing that's sort of related to the writing that I want to briefly mention here that also does potentially reside within a woke category as well, and it's the constant reference to the main character as they. This is incredibly distracting. It's mainly only the professors, old and new, who call the main character they throughout the story. It's just distracting, immersion breaking, and isn't entirely necessary because re-recorded lines are rampant throughout the game depending on which house you're in. So is it really that difficult for the few times that they actually do reference personal pronouns to re-record those based on the options chosen in the character creation menu? If nothing else, there are other instances of them avoiding personal pronouns with nicknames like my young friend. Just keep doing that if you really want to stay gender neutral. There is a way to stay gender neutral without using personal pronouns at all. I think that would have been a better route if they didn't want to record a bunch more lines, but they obviously were willing to record a bunch more lines when it came to the houses of Hogwarts, so it wasn't necessarily something that they were adverse to doing entirely. It just came across as distracting, not necessarily a problem with the story itself or the writing. I would not call this game woke by any stretch of the imagination, but the motivation behind the they was just distracting more than anything else, and could fall into a slight woke category if nothing else. But moving on, besides the gameplay, combat, and flying mechanics, the best part of this game is the immersion and world building. It feels like a real world with the exception of the people inhabiting it. It looks real, the world building is phenomenal, adding stuff to the Harry Potter books, recreating stuff from the Harry Potter books that not even the movies did. Hogwarts is fully open worlds, plus the land surrounding it. It feels so vibrant and exciting. I just like to go explore because the Forbidden Forest is a very interesting place where you can come across a lot of interesting things. The immersion, the world building from a previous Harry Potter fan who was once again a Harry Potter fan. It really is Harry Potter. It feels like the Wizarding World in a way that I haven't been able to feel in a very long time. It rekindled a lot of my childhood excitement for this franchise that I haven't had for near a decade at this point. But the immersion and the world building is top notch, and any previous Harry Potter fan or current Harry Potter fan who knows the feel of Harry Potter, the look of Harry Potter, and the small details of Harry Potter will come to appreciate this game more than a lot of people otherwise would. But those are my thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy. With a lot of those story issues, the NPC issues, I do have to rate this slightly lower than I'd hoped. I'd be giving this about a 6 out of 10 is where my final ranking is going to end up, but it is absolutely a hugely enjoyable game that I loved. I poured hours and hours and hours into it because the gameplay and the combat was so engaging. I love this game so very much, and I'm happy to see it breaking records left and right. UK charts overwhelmingly positive, outselling Elden Ring by 80% according to some reports. I'm just happy that this game is good because with all the controversy surrounding it, it'd be nice to have a good contradiction to them with a good game as well, and Hogwarts Legacy definitely delivers with that, and I can't wait to see how high this game soars. But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Anon.
Hey, yo, are you feeling what I'm doing up in here? Oh, I know you are. Do you miss all the good, compelling stories that we used to get back in Hollywood that they ain't putting down no more? I know you missing it. So check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern day mental illness issues, baby. Book 1, Down in Flames. Book 2, Apocalypse Then. These are currently on sale. What are you waiting for? Get your hands on them. And we got book 3, Kill the Dark, is coming down the pipeline. Just wait for all the good stuff that's dropping. You ain't gonna be disappointed, fam.